Welcome to Porch Play Chats, sponsored by the American Association for the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately known as IPA USA. IPA USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association. And as part of our efforts to promote play, we've introduced these Porch Play Chats. And these are conversations with people who are just as passionate about play as we are. You can find all the Porch Play Chats on our website at ipausa.org. You click on that top right-hand button for our Facebook page, and you can be a friend on Facebook, or you can click on the YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and magically, every Monday, a new Porch Play Chat will appear in your feed. I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm the president of IPA USA, and with us on the porch today is Ellen Cogan, who has been a repeat Porch Play Chat person because she has the most amazing wealth of knowledge to share with us. And today, Ellen is going to talk about exploring music as play with infants and toddlers. So Ellen, welcome. I'm so excited to see you. And let's get started. What a great topic.
Thank you. Well, I started thinking about different types of play. And music, according to our friend Lisa Murphy, is one of the first things to come in and one of the last to go. So babies respond to music almost from birth, and old people, even people who have Alzheimer's, can remember and sort of hum along to the music that they knew from childhood. So I started thinking about music and play. Recently, there was one of the news shows interviewed a guy who's writing the music. He writes a lot of movie music, and he's writing the music to Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh,
Judy Blume one. And he was asked about what he thinks about writing music and playing music. And he said, listen, the word we talk about music is play. People who spend their lives working at music play music. You never hear anybody say, I work at the piano. They play the piano or the violin or the tuba or whatever they play. So if music is one of the first senses to come in, then how do little ones play with music?
great question, Ellen. How do they?
Well, all kinds of ways. Of course, by listening, because almost everybody sings little ditties to little ones and they hear it. And they maybe hear music in their houses. Maybe somebody plays some music in their houses. So the hearing, the sense of hearing is attuned to music right away. But then what do they do about it? They may make little noises, da, 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 and someone else repeats them. It's part of the way they learn language and part of the way they learn to relate to other people, but they hear the sounds. And if the person listening to them tries to repeat the sound with the same kind of pitch, they see that they have a direct connection. And as they get a little older, they will try to match pitches. So if you hear a sound that goes ba, 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 you will hear a little one, maybe 6 or 8 months when they can do it, will go, They may not know exactly. When you read a story to like a 1-year-old and it's got an animal in it, and you say, roar, they will go, roar. They will make the sound and match the pitch to the extent they can. So pitch is one of the attributes of music. Another one is timing. You often see them tap things. They will pick up anything and tap it. They have the first thing they'll have is a rattle. They'll shake it to see how it makes noise. My 2-year-old granddaughter has figured out that a lot of stuffed animals have noisemakers in them. So as soon as she sees an animal, she squeezes it to see if it makes a noise. They're lately putting.
So she's already made she's already made that connection that some animals make noise. I'm going to see if this animal makes noise. How smart is that?
We went to a Head Start conference and brought her a little squeezy ball with like little hair on top. And first thing she did was squeeze it and listen. And her mother said she's listening to see if it makes a noise. Many of the first books that they're making for little ones that used to be cloth books and now they're plastic have crinkly stuff inside. When my kids were little, they did not have that. But now they crinkle. So there's something to listen to when you see a book. You don't usually think of a book in terms of listening. You know, when you give a little one a board book or a picture book.
But think of the sensorial, the things in their senses with hearing, feeling the crinkle, hearing the crinkle, exploring how that sound is happening. Think of the learning, the cause and effect that they're getting from just the noises that are happening with toys that may make sounds or books that make sounds. Oh my goodness, just the development is incredible.
Now, every culture from before recorded history has had music that has something to bang on. Their people have banged on trees, on rocks, on banged two pieces of wood together. And there has always been something that people bang on. So that starts very young. Excuse me. Little ones who are being fed with a spoon, you know, they always take that spoon and bang it. Of course, they throw it. And
yeah, of course, or drop it. Yeah.
You know, they train the adults very well to pick it up. And sometimes the adults don't pick it up. Uh-oh. But that's another workshop or discussion. So when they tap things or bang things, they will do it over and over again. And then sometimes they'll pick up something else and tap it over and over again. You see when they're given a set of nesting cups, most often they will not nest them. They will bang them, they will fill them, they will collect them, they will put them in different order. But as they bang them, they see they make different noises. When my grandson was 1, I got a rain stick for him, a small one.
Oh, I love those.
A rain stick is like a a toy with little pieces in it. And when you turn it, it sounds like the rain. So we took the rain stick out of the box and he tapped it on the box. And then he tapped the box on the floor. And then he tapped the box on other things. And it was a party and other people were saying, oh, you're supposed to turn it over. But he was busy banging everything. And he wanted to see how the rain stick made noise when it was banging compared to how the box made noise when it was banging. And he was having the best time. And I was enjoying it like crazy. And other people were getting very bent out of shape because he's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to use the toy and then they're supposed to open their toys. So finally they got.
You know, sometimes we inhibit development because we want it to hurry up, right? That's that whole, you know, I want them to hurry up and walk until they start walking. And you're like, oh my God, I want them to hurry up and roll over. Here, let me help you learn how to roll over. Instead of just valuing the moment of development that you're seeing happen. You know, I think back to toddlers in the toddler room when it's lunchtime and you give them the plates and what are they doing? They're banging with them, right? Then they're banging with the spoon that they're going to eat with. And then the teachers take it away instead of valuing the development that is happening in front of their eyes. So I think, Ellen, that is a huge lesson for us to hear, that you need to not be frustrated with what they're doing, but see it as an important stage of development and celebrate it instead of getting frustrated with it. And the one thing I want to go back to with what you were saying about music is, you know, Bev Boz would say music is the heart of all of us. But I think the one thing that I'm seeing that might be taking away from the value of music is that sometimes people aren't singing with children. They're putting on a YouTube video, which is not the same. It's not the same pulling it up on your iPad or on your iPhone and playing it. It's not the same. And it doesn't matter what you sound like. If you don't think you can sing, toddlers don't care. They just want that interaction with you. And to hear familiar tunes and rhythms. And, you know, my favorite thing is when you're singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star with them. And when you go up above and they all do their hands up above the world so high. I mean, it's so precious. They may not have the twinkle, twinkle yet, but they've got the motions. Oh my goodness. And we should be valuing and celebrating and recognizing and doing observations that we can share with families that, oh, we were singing the song today and they just love it. And here's the things they were doing with it so that parents will go, oh, I could do that at home. I know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Or I know, you know, what's another one that we sing all the time? Row, row, row your boat. I know those. So that we have that beautiful reciprocal interaction with people who love them. And that, I think, is the beauty of this.
It is. And they also use their bodies to make music.
Mm-hmm.
They will smack on themselves. They will smack on their hands. They will use their hands to smack each other, of course, which is clapping. And there's all different kinds of clapping and tapping. And these are not incidental.
Mm-mm.
These are ways children learn.
Mm-hmm.
This does this does that.
Mm-hmm.
When I bang on the chair, it sounds different from when I bang on my hands.
Mm-hmm.
When I touch my shoulder, it doesn't make that clapping sound that my hands make. When I use my tongue in different ways, I mean, we've all seen them go make noise that way. They're learning what to do with their mouths and their tongues, and they go up and down. And they don't have teeth yet, but then later they have teeth and you can hear the click clack of the teeth.
And again, it's getting their mouth ready for language, right? Those
Exactly.
things that they're doing with their mouths, sticking out their tongues. And I hear teachers say, don't stick out your tongue. That's rude. They're sticking out their tongue because it's part of getting their mouth ready to speak. They're clacking, they're blubbering with their lips because someone's been doing that on their belly. I mean, how many of us as parents, when we're changing their diapers, do we go down and do the on their bellies and everybody giggles. And so again, these seemingly non-descriptive things that children are doing have a basis in their development. And again, we should be valuing them and welcoming them and imitating them and seeing it for what it is instead of stopping it because it's not appropriate, right? So, ooh, good topic, Ellen. Woo.
Thank you. As they get to be toddlers and they can say some words and make some noises, they like to scream very loudly. So we can also scream and then lower our voices. We can say, our mouths make so many noises. Let's make a quiet one. Let's get louder and louder and louder. Oh, make a big noise. What I used to do when I was teaching kindergarten, when it got too loud, I would yell with them and then they'd look at me and it kind of broke it. And then I'd say, you need to speak a little more quiet. And the quieter I got, the quieter they got. And then they went back to whatever they were doing. But if you get excited over it and tell them not to do it, it becomes something terrible. But when they're learning to make noises, when they're in that toddler stage and they're making noises with their mouths, you can help them. You can go, ah, ah, and go change your pitch and play a game with them and see if they can do it. And the more little songs you have, you don't need a song that somebody else knows. You can make a song that says, we're going to the car, we're going to the car. Come on, let's get in the car seat, we're going to the car. And you may not remember it the next time, but sometimes the child will. And sometimes they say, Mommy, car. And yes, we're in the car. No, sing car. And then you have to go, oh, what did I say?
What was that song? What? I don't remember it.
So you can make up songs for anything, especially if they're getting a little antsy and you're waiting for something to happen and you can't quite give them what they need immediately. You can make a song. And if they're busy singing, they're not busy focusing on what's bothering them.
Yeah. I remember when the infants in the infant room would call out because they were awake and they were ready to get out of their crib, and I was feeding a child and the other teacher was changing a child. I would say, Sarah, I hear you. We'll be right there. Well, I'll be right there, Sarah. I'm feeding Jason right now. I'll be right there. Or Miss Emily will be right there. We hear you. So that they had some validation that they had been noticed and that they could.
I'm laughing because last night there was somebody on Facebook who was upset about something or other. And I said, you go shopping and you hear a little kid yelling, "Mommy, mommy, 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 mommy," 400 times. If mommy would just say, "Yes, almost. I'm almost ready." And just let them know that somebody is there. Exactly what
Yeah.
you said.
Yes.
So we are definitely on the same wavelength, my friend, because I just wrote that yesterday.
It's just, and again, I think it's because sometimes, whether we're teachers or parents, whether we're people in the grocery store who might be saying, "Stop that child from screaming," "Oh, you're a horrible parent," all those judgmental things that people do. If we just responded to them, especially when they're like, they're squealing because they see something that looks really interesting, and you go, "Shh." No, you should say, "What's seeing?" Point to what you're seeing so I can tell you what it is, so all of those, we just need to respect them as humans instead of thinking it's annoying.
When
And
you
so
said
anyway, I
the
think that
grocery store, it reminded me of some kid who was screaming his head off on, we were all online, and a woman got very annoyed, and I said, "I think he feels worse about it than you do, or than we do." And she said, "Oh," and got very quiet.
well,
Because
many times I'm in the grocery store and poor parents are probably thinking I'm trying to kidnap their children, but they'll start to show their frustration and I'll go, "What's that? Oh, did that make you upset? Are you happy?" So I'll just engage them in conversation. The parents looking at me like, "Who are you, weird woman?" and get away from my child. But it stops what it was that they were getting ready to escalate into. And then the parent begins to recognize, "Oh, do you need something? Are you thirsty? Do you want, so we avoid the escalation because we're actually paying attention
I love
to the
how we go from one related topic to another and we get far off the stated topic, which is music.
It is. So let's go back because we're about ready to close up. So let's go back to music and talk about
And so all
why.
the things that children do that make noise, especially rhythmic noise, is really learning the rhythms.
Mhm.
And sometimes adults, especially when when the children are over one, they can say 1, 2, 1, 2, and count the timing as
Mhm.
if it's a song, and as if they're playing the drums or something. There are so many tie-ins for children's making noise and banging on things to music
Mhm.
that if we just listen and appreciate it, we can begin to give them a real love of music. When
Oh,
we
yeah.
play music on anything, all of a sudden I just say, "Okay, play such and such," and a speaker will start playing a song. But when it's a little one and they're banging, you can start singing one of those songs that you've just heard.
Mhm.
You say, "Oh, you're making music to the music."
Mhm. Well, and I think the other thing, Ellen, that we don't understand is the sequences of development, right? So when they are clapping or when they are doing anything with rhythm, when they get to be 5 or 6 or 7, and we're asking them to tell us how many syllables are in a word that they're hearing, it's connected to prior learning of rhythm, right? Let's clap out the syllables of the word when we're in first or second grade. So, what we do playfully with young children is building those learning connections that we're hoping that they'll be able to apply when their brains are ready to understand
Exactly.
syllables.
Exactly.
But we don't value it when they're infants and toddlers but we want them to do it when they're 6 or 7 or 8. And so again, we have to always go back to what it is they're doing and why they're doing it and where is that on the developmental continuum. And what will it lead to as they move through their developmental stages? And it doesn't matter how old the child is. It doesn't matter whether this child has a disability or this child has been traumatized. Everybody has their own developmental sequence. And almost everybody goes through the exact same developmental sequence, regardless of the age they're in. So I can be 7 and be at a 3-year-old level. I'm still going through the stages. Don't try to rush me over here to get to a 7-year-old level, because you're going to skip things that are important in my development. So, oh my goodness, Ellen, what happens when you come on is that you just open up this whole nother world for people. I'm not kidding. You open up this whole nother world of perspective that sometimes we miss because we're too busy, right? So this was fabulous as always. So I'm going to close this out. Don't go anywhere. So to learn more about IPA USA, please visit our website at ipausa.org. And until next time, keep on playing.